Okay, reaction video. This is a different reaction video. Now title of my channel is Scott Dova's Interesting World, and I want to get the world. And most of my videos have dealt with soccer, and some of them have dealt with TikTok and other things. But this one's a little bit of a different animal. I generally don't discuss politics or what my politics are, but I saw this. I wanted to try this one. This is Charlie Kirk destroys race baiting student with facts and logic. Now, I'm gonna see what this is about and just react to it and see where we go with this. I've not seen this, so I don't know what they're going to be talking about. I get an idea of what they're going to be talking about, but I don't know for sure.
Hi, y'all. So before I ask my question, I want to clarify a point that y'all mentioned earlier. You said you don't believe in white privilege, correct?
Okay, we're talking about white privilege, and that's the belief that if your skin color, you get preferential treatment. I have not experienced this a whole lot in my life. If I have, I was oblivious to it. But most situations that I've run into where I was in a situation with people of other ethnicities and different skin color, I was not treated any differently than they were. I wasn't put to the front of the line. I wasn't treated any better or any worse than anybody else. So I've never experienced white privilege. But she's clarifying with them that they don't believe white privilege exists.
Yeah, it's a myth. It doesn't exist.
Okay. So according to the Bureau of Prison Statistics from last month, 38.3% of our current inmate population is black. But according to the 2020 census data, only 12.2% of our national population is black. So if you don't believe in white privilege, how do you explain this disparity?
So why are they in jail?
It has been this way for years.
Yeah, answer the question. Why are they in jail? That's what the question is.
Since the 90s.
Why do people go to jail?
And he just basically asked a very simple question. Why do people go to jail? Not why do black people go to jail? Why do people go to jail?
Black people in jail at higher rates than white people.
That's the question, right? Maybe because they commit more crimes than white people.
But that's not true.
Well, let's play this on. She says it's not true. Maybe she has something to back it up.
It actually is.
They do. So every independent analysis shows that blacks have committed a disproportionate amount of crime. No one wants to say it out loud, but it's true. In fact, in New York, 52% of murders are committed by blacks, 40+% of arson, 60+% of drug deals. And so the question you should really be asking is what drives them to commit crimes? That's the question, right? The real question is, and maybe I can ask you, what percentage of blacks are raised with two parents in the home?
And those are legitimate questions. But if she has something that can refute his argument, I'm all ears.
So actually, according to the Uniform Crime Report for 2019, black or African American individuals committed only about 1 million crimes, while white people committed about 4 million crimes.
But that's proportion.
Yeah, how about the proportion?
There's a lot more white people than black people in the United States.
It's a 60% white country and a 14% black country. So you just proved my point.
Yeah, she did.
You literally, so basically that's a disproportionate amount of crime. It is.
But listen, I want to say, look, you are coming up here and you're asking the question, and that's not easy to do, first and foremost, no matter what.
Agreed. I mean, she's putting herself on the line. She's asking a question, and she's trying to get an answer. She believes one thing. It's clear she believes the opposite of what Charlie Kirk and this other lady up here believe. But, yeah, she's asking a question, and she's looking for answers.
What? And I really appreciate your question in front of all these people. It's hard. So thank you for asking your question. But let me point out what you just did, and you didn't know that you did it. You switched from proportion to raw numbers. And you did that to make a point that you thought you were making, but you weren't. But look, your issue was that black Americans only make up 13% of the population, and yet they make up, I think you said, like 38% of the prison population. And then you switched to raw numbers because, so black people only make up 13% of the population, but they commit 40% of all homicides and 60% of all violent crime. Unfortunately, I don't think that's anything inherent in black Americans. That's not what I'm saying.
It isn't. It is not something that you're born with. And, Charlie Kirk asked the question, how many have two parent households? And I think that does go a long way as well.
That's just a fact. And what Charlie is saying is, look, we've got to look at why that is. So you're claiming that that disparity is inherent proof of discrimination. So would you also say the fact that there are fewer Asians in jail means that than white people, that there is discrimination against white people? No? Disparity isn't proof of discrimination is what I'm trying to say.
So let me just throw, and Allie's exactly right. What percentage of blacks grow up with two parents in the home?
I don't know.
Yeah, less than 20%.
When you ask questions to people like Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro or any of the other people who come up here and do these, Anna Kasparian probably, and they're going to know the answers already. They read this, they study this, they know this like the back of their hand. They are prepared for these questions. And this woman came up here with her phone. I don't know what website she was looking at, but she tried to back it up with facts, and I appreciate that. I think her question is quite legitimate.
That's why there's so many blacks committing crimes and they're in jail. It's that simple. The death of the black family is why blacks are in jail higher than their population percentage. It's that simple.
May I see your criminology degree? Do you have one?
You don't need a criminology degree to know that stuff. Okay? You don't need a criminology degree for that.
Sorry.
Oh,
Wait.
we've gotta are you a
We gotta argue
biologist,
from an
Ketanji
expert.
Brown Jackson?
Let me ask you a question. So do I need a criminology degree to be able to understand that 75% of blacks don't grow up with two parents?
No.
To be well versed in it, I believe so.
Do you have one?
I don't, but I'm studying it.
Okay,
right
but
now.
you
she studied it.
But you did the same thing. You looked at a statistic, and he did the same thing. You
Look,
don't have a criminology
Have you
degree,
taken a
neither does
criminology
he.
course? Have y'all
Hold on
taken
a second. You're doing an argument from authority, okay?
It's a fallacy.
So the laws of physics don't change whether or not you're a physicist, okay? The law of thermodynamics doesn't change whether or not you take a course on it. Answer the question. Why do blacks have a broken family versus a nuclear family, and does that translate to higher rates of crime?
And that's a legitimate question. Okay, again, I appreciate the girl for asking the question. Okay, she's studying criminology, and she may have come up with a different approach to this, but his questions are legitimate as well. And you don't need a criminology degree to ask to look and understand these things. You really don't. Okay, he's just asking legitimate questions here.
Admit that.
Why is it that blacks don't have parents, though? Why?
Good question.
She just asked the question he was asking.
We subsidize single motherhood in this country through the federal government of the United States. Great question. Now we're getting somewhere. Back in the 1960s, we put forward a program where black women married the government and broke up with the men they were with. Welfare state, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and that has contributed to blacks committing more crimes.
Yeah, I think it was called the War on Poverty, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe institutionalized racism is your answer, but I don't believe I'm getting anywhere with y'all.
But no, just let me say.
Again, she believes something different, and God bless her for it. This is America, and you're entitled to your belief and your opinion. She's made up her mind. Okay, now they're giving her alternatives here, but she doesn't seem willing to accept or agree with it, and that's her prerogative. Maybe assuming she gets her degree in criminology, maybe she'll learn something new. But she asked, they're answering. They asked, she's answered.
Just let me point something out. Did you know that it's not white Americans that have the lowest incarceration rate or the lowest rates of crime or the highest graduation rates or the highest median income? It's not white Americans. It's Asian Americans. They have the highest median income. They have the highest graduation rates.
Again, I've heard that before, and that's true.
They have the most degrees. They have the lowest incarceration rates. And guess what? They also have the lowest single parenthood rates. Okay? So that is true across the board. It's not just black Americans. And unless you are willing to say that the reason why Asian Americans make more than white Americans or the reason why Asian Americans go to jail less than white Americans is because there is systemic institutional racism against white people in this country, then your argument against black people doesn't really work.
Again, there are other reasons than just systemic racism. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince anybody that racism doesn't exist in America. That's just a complete falsehood. But I don't also am in favor of looking at other things as what could be a possibility. Now, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but one thing I do know is that when you start pointing your finger at racism as being the single defining reason for something, you better back it up.
Let me ask you one thing. It's institutional racism. I got a black friend right up here. He's great. He's great. So let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. What can I do that he can't do?
Nothing. He can do anything you can do.
What do you mean?
If institutional racism was real, what can I do that he can't do?
Well, you're less likely to get arrested.
Well, you get arrested for committing crimes. Okay, are you saying that somebody's going to come out of the audience and just arrest him for being a black man?
I'm sorry. No, if we both commit a crime, he's going to get arrested and I'm not?
He could.
Wait, so we just went through this. Blacks commit a disproportionate amount of crime in this country because of broken families. So give me one law on the books. You said it's institutional. Give me a law anywhere that discriminates against blacks. Give me one law anywhere in America.
You want current or past?
How about right now?
Well, the fact that crack cocaine is criminalized more than regular cocaine.
No. If I deal crack cocaine, I'm getting arrested regardless of skin color. Give me a law.
White cocaine, you would.
Give me a law anywhere that allows white people to commit crimes and get away with it, and blacks can't. Does that law exist?
It doesn't. Whether I sell crack cocaine or if I sell regular cocaine, I'll get arrested for it. Okay, regardless of the color of my skin.
Not anymore.
Because there's no institutional racism in America. The idea of institutional racism is laws on the books.
Just because it's not down on paper doesn't mean it's not real.
Okay, so what she's talking about there is that if I'm selling crack cocaine or regular cocaine and some other guy down the street, black guy, is doing the same thing, it's more likely that he's going to get arrested than I'm going to get arrested. Okay, he's probably going to go to jail, but I may be able to get away with it. Okay, that's I think that's what she's trying to say here, that it's more likely, the law in the book says that we both should be arrested for the crime, but they're more likely to go after him than me because of the color of my skin.
Okay, give us an example. Not
God.
just a disparity. Not just a
God?
disparity.
God isn't. You don't see God.
He's on paper. Read the Bible.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm getting nowhere with y'all, and y'all are not answering my questions, so I'm going.
They answered her questions. Okay, they answered her questions. Again, she's come in with this. She has made up her mind. She thinks there's institutional racism. She thinks there's white privilege, the whole 9 yards. Okay, and they have answered her question, but she just doesn't believe it. And because she doesn't believe it, she's has made up her mind, and that they haven't answered her question, is going to walk away, and that's fine. But again, they have answered her question.
I'm going to end this Q&A right here. Thank you for your time.
At least she's polite.
We actually did answer her questions, but I do appreciate, even though she's got an attitude, I do appreciate her courage.
Again, I think the only questions that she wanted to answer were them completely to agree with her and say, yes, you're 100% correct. There's institutional racism. Yes, there is white privilege. Now, look, I'm just one person. I can only go based on my experiences, okay? I can only go based on what I see, okay? You may have different experiences than me. She may have different experiences than these two. The only thing I know of is based on my experiences. I have not seen it, and I've not experienced it. But again, if you have, okay, please share. Okay, I'm open-minded on this subject. Okay, if there's something that you've seen or that you could bring up, let us know. But again, they're going on statistics and based on what they know, and so is she. So again, I thought it was a good, healthy debate.
Courage. I do. That is difficult. That's difficult
Yeah,
to come up here and ask a question, but you can also do it respectfully.
What bothered me about her, I'm glad she was there. She wasn't being honest. At least be honest, okay, and be willing to be corrected. Well, that was a fun fireworks show to end our time together, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, saying she wasn't honest, I think she was, in her mind, she was honest. That's another thing about honesty is you're going based on what you know. And I, like him and like her, like Charlie Kirk, I appreciate her for participating. I thought this was a good debate. Again, I don't agree with her, but it was a good debate, and I enjoyed this one. So tell me what you think. And like I said, I freely admit I could be 100% wrong on all this. Okay, but I can only go based on my own experiences and what I've seen. Please click like, subscribe, and share. And thanks very much for watching.